a juvenile delinquent. My father was in the South Pacific and New Guinea, and my mother worked at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So I really ran wild, sneaking into the Polo Grounds at 10 or 11 years old. That was a pretty big feat, for a kid that young. But that's what I did, and I love baseball. I love the Giants, Bill Rigney, Jack Lorkey, Willard Marshall, Walker Cooper, so on and so forth. I was really more or less a National League fan because that's what I was exposed to.
At 16, you moved up to Stamford, Connecticut, and you were pretty good. You were a pretty good pitcher in high school. You ended up with a record of 15-1, did you not?
That's right. Yeah.
And they had two teams. They had two teams up there, and one was called the Eagles, the other the Stamford Black Yankees. Tell me about them.
Well, the Eagles was a man's team. When I moved up to Stamford, I didn't really know anyone. And I lived not too far from Woodside Park, and the Eagles used to practice there, and also the Stamford Yankees. But the Stamford Yankees were more or less young kids, and the Eagles were men. And the Yankees wanted me to play with them, but I'd rather play with men, and that's what I did.
You decided to play with them in the fall of 1953, and you started to play in some big money games. Now, give me the definition of big money games.
Well, when I grew up in Stamford, the baseball teams had to come up with the best ball players because the games that were booked, and they were bet on. Different people would back different teams, and they might bet 200, 300, 500 on the game. And so we had to, our teams had to be pretty darn good in order to win. The biggest thing that happened to me, I played against a team out of New Haven, Connecticut, called the Indians, and we bet about $500 or $700 on the game. The bookies that bet on the game, and I beat them 1-0. And the Indians came to me because they were playing the Milwaukee Braves Farm Club in a couple of weeks. And they sent a couple players down from New Haven to Stamford to see if I would pitch for them. My mother didn't want me to go because I was in high school. This was my junior year. And so we bickered back and forth, and I begged my mother, and we bickered back and forth. And then one of the guys said, well, what about if we just change his name? So they changed my name to Kenny Hart. And I pitched against the Milwaukee Braves Farm Club, and I beat them. And that was how I signed with the Braves.
Yeah,
and that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, in 1954, you attended the professional baseball tryout camp with the Milwaukee Braves, and the very next day, you were contacted and offered a major league contract. And after attending spring training the following year, you were shipped to the minor league team in West Palm Beach, Florida, but later on released. What was that like when you were shipped down there with a major league farm team, major league baseball farm team? What was that like?
When the Braves signed me, they signed me to a contract to go to Quebec. I wasn't expected to go down south. When I got down south, it was altogether different. And the manager's name was Bill Stanicky, and he used to catch for the Yankees. But anyway, there was me and another guy named Jim Proctor, who were black, who the Braves sent down there. And he got rid of us as quick as he could because he said it was too much trouble running around finding somewhere for us to eat and somewhere for us to sleep. So he just got rid of us. And that goes into my one of the things I talk about when I go to speak, and that's fake tryouts. We had a lot of fake tryouts back then, where the teams would just say, well, they were going to try out certain ball players and not sign them. I don't know whether you're interested in that or not. I got a little to say about that.
Yeah, I'd like just about in 90 seconds, tell me about that.
Well, Jackie Robinson tried out for a major league club, the Boston Red Sox, in 1946, I think it was. Him and Sam Jethro, and one of the executives from the Boston Red Sox said,